What if I told you that we're a way to turn scraps and waste material from around your workshop into projects that sell for up to £75 on Etsy? Sound interesting? Then this is the video for you. And I'd like to thank my friends over at OMTech for helping make this video a possibility. Now don't get me wrong, this board's wonkier than a wonky thing from Wonksville, but that's the great thing about buying timber seconds. For the projects that I'm going to show you, this is ideal because with a small amount of milling, you can turn a board that costs £10 into hundreds and hundreds of pounds if you wish. So let's start by chopping this down. First of all, we need to know what our dimensions are. Once we've got that, we can take this to just a little bit oversized over on the chop saw. Once we're happy with the cut, and certainly when all the smoke's dispersed, we need to put this through the thicknesser. But when you're dealing with a short piece of board that's got a really big wonk, sometimes what you need to do is just build a sled. That's a posh way of saying I'm going to glue it to another board. And once we've got one smooth edge on top, we flip the board over, taking stock of just how rough the other side actually was, and we go again, putting it back through the thicknesser until we've got two parallel sides. And this is what amazes me with a planer. In less than 10 minutes, I've taken this horrible, wonky board and turned it into some beautiful looking timber ready for the project. Now what makes me laugh is this entire piece cost me £10. I source all my hardwoods from a local furniture store that just sells me offcuts for next to nothing. It's their trash, but for me, it's absolute treasure because if I went to the big box store, this alone is 25 quid. But I got all this for £10 and about 20 minutes clean-up work. So once I've stopped cooing over getting a good deal down at my local wood store again, it's time to get on with setting up the table saw and ripping this piece into 4 15mm wide strips. 15mm is going to be the exact number that I want, for the simple reason is I need to put a bit of a rebate in this for something to sit within the box I'm going to make. Now this is the only time I'll ever tell you to take your blade guard off, when you're not making a completely through cut. I need to drop this blade down so I can pass the wood over the top of the blade without the cut coming all the way through. This is a well established technique, and what this gives you is a nice little groove that you can house something in, which is one of the steps coming up in the very near future. Now the exact depth of this cut doesn't matter because we can change one of the upcoming cuts to make sure that we've got our piece exactly at the size that we want for the part that's going to sit in it. What is important here though is consistency, and this is where the fence comes in. All these cuts have to line up, so when you make a box out of these, everything sits in line, and the part that we're going to make shortly is going to sit and be seated really nice. Quite simply, we're going to push each of these 4 pieces through the blade before stopping and checking that we've got a nice tight snug fit. If we need a little bit more room, you move your fence over and repeat until you are happy with the fit that you've got. So once we've cut all 4 pieces and we're happy with the fit that we've achieved, we're going to move on to the next part, which is to cut a name into this piece of acrylic. Now for this, I'm going to use the OMTech Polar Laser, and I'll tell you why I picked this machine. Everything I'm going to do to this acrylic, you can do in another way. But the OMTech Polar Laser brings a level of precision and speed that I can't replicate as a human. Now I absolutely love how easy this OMTech laser is to use. Simply turn it on, plug it into your computer, press go, and the files ping themselves straight over and the cutting begins. Even a computer newbie like me can make this piece of kit work. It's absolutely a game changer if you've got a small workshop or hobby business. And because I'm so made up with the quality of this machine, I'm going to leave some details down below in the pinned comment and in the description about how you can get one. It is an affiliate link, but it costs you no extra if you go on to buy. So with all our parts cut out now, it's time to start the assembly process. And as always, we're going to use a smidgen of glue and every clamp I own. Why does that always seem to happen? But as I'm putting this together, I have a question for you. Do you know what I'm making yet? Have you figured it out? Are you surprised that something so simple sells for as much as £75? Let me know in the comments below. So once I've finished messing about putting way too many clamps on this thing, it's time to do a little bit of cleanup once that's all dried. A light little bit of sanding just to smarten up these edges because my miters weren't that bob on, but good enough to sell. After that, it's time to set up the router table because I need to make a rebate in the back because I'm going to put some mirror in the back to help with the light on this situation. Hopefully by now you can see how this thing's coming together. And once I've cleaned up the router marks with a little bit of hand sand, and it's time to put a little groove in the bottom of this thing because I'm going to kick this lighting up to the next level. Now I love these little LED string lights. Fits on a USB plug, simple on and off switch. Bob's your uncle, can't go wrong. Nice and simple, easy way to elevate your project. Now I love adding unusual materials to my build and these acrylic mirrors are just that. I picked these up from a craft store seconds place, less than £1 each. Excellent for projects such as this one. And once everything is glued into place, it's time to just wipe on a little bit of finish. Nothing fancy here, just some simple wipe on poly. And now it's time for the big reveal. But did you guess right? What did you think it was? Because the actual answer is a light box with a name on. I've made this for a child further down the road. Now, I'll be honest, I said at the beginning that I found this for £75 on Etsy. I'll be honest with you, I don't have the guts to charge £75 for something that's cost me about £3 to £4 in material. I sold this for £30 in my area, and since providing that one to the family down the road, I've had another 4 orders. Simple products like this that cost a few pounds can turn you a nice little profit in your area. Now, if you wanted, you could sell these wherever you wanted. You could set up a proper Etsy store and go that way, or quite simply Facebook Marketplace and advertise them on your local village or town groups. It's nice and easy. But let me know, what do you think of this project? Is this something that you could make? And what do you think you'd be able to sell it for in your area? So that just leaves me to say thank you to OMTech. If you want some more information about this laser, I'll leave some details in the description and the pinned comment. Failing that, thank you very much for watching. I'm Ross, this is Fat Hog Woodworking, and I hope I've done enough to see you on the next one.